Hey wonderful people, I hope you're having a blast with my videos and recipes. And if you like my videos and recipes, just like other YouTubers tell you to, I'm going to tell you to like, subscribe to my channel and share my videos so that more people can like, subscribe to my channel and share my videos. Now that that is out of the way, let's move on to what we're going to do today. There are some days in life where all we need is a nice big warm hug. And the food equivalent of a nice big warm hug is definitely a soup. So today we're going to make a very nutritious, filling and delicious soup. Let's quickly move on to see what we need to do that. The soup of today is going to be black bean soup, and this is a very simple and wonderful soup. The main things that you need for it is 1 can of black beans. Don't drain it, you need the liquid. Then 1 can of any kind of diced tomatoes, with or without chili peppers or jalapenos. I like the spice, so I am going to use the one with jalapenos in it. Then, of course, finely chopped 1 big white onion for sweetness and crunch. 4 cloves of garlic that has been thinly sliced, and an optional ingredient, a bay leaf. If you do not have bay leaf, don't worry about it, you don't have to use. The garlic is more than enough to give it the punch. Then last but not the least, you have cilantro stems. Stems from a whole bunch of cilantro that has been finely chopped. One must note that the cilantro leaves are all cute and nice and fuzzy, but then the actual flavor of cilantro comes from the cilantro stems. So please don't throw away the cilantro stems, use them in your recipes. And I'm really sorry if you're one of the few people for whom cilantro just tastes like soap. In that case, just use something else like parsley or other herbs that don't taste like soap to you. Okay, then for spices, I'm having some ground cumin handy with me and some kind of chili powder. In the US, if you ask for chili powder, it also has other things in it like garlic and other spices. So it could be red chili powder, crushed red pepper or ground paprika, whatever it is, some kind of heat element. There are other optional toppings that you can use, like this can of French fried onions. These are fried onions. You don't have to do anything, just open the can and then take a few fried onions and put it on top of your dish. It gives a nice crunch and a flavor. And of course you can have some lemon juice or lime juice to add at the end for some brightness and acidity. Acid is really important when you're cooking food to make it delicious. I have a pot here and I'm going to start the heat at medium-high. Add in about a tablespoon or tablespoon and a half of any kind of oil that you like. And this is one of those times when I ask you to add something inside cold oil, because what that does is that infuses and slowly cooks the ingredient, and this makes a wonderful oil that is infused with the ingredients that you're putting in. And for today I'm putting in 1 bay leaf. It's important for dry spices to go in cold oil and slowly heat up and release their spiciness, if you will, or the aromatics. And then of course the garlic. All of this goes in, and we just have to wait until the medium-high heat slowly raises the temperature of the oil and infuses the oil with these spices and things that we have put in. Okay, it has been a couple of minutes and the garlic has browned well and the bay leaf has infused, and it will continue to infuse as we cook. Now to add the onions and wait for that sound. Shh. Yeah, I love hearing that sound. And the cilantro stems. Okay, let's saute this for about 2 minutes until the onions turn slightly brown. It's been about 3 minutes, and if you see, it's translucent and the onions are turning brown. That's what you need. And this is when you're going to add some salt. Now you need to keep in mind that the beans already have salt in them. You need to add salt for the onions and you need to add salt for the tomatoes. And again, the salt is up to you. how salty you want this. And then goes the spice. Paprika, you know, you should always cook down your spice for a minute. I'm adding about, I would say 2 teaspoons. I also have jalapenos in the tomatoes, so that'll give me the kick. And then about 1 teaspoon of cumin. Not too much. I'm not a big fan of cumin, but I do like it, but not a huge fan. Ah, that's a wonderful smell of a medley of vegetables and spices. Now look at that. You can only look, but I can look and smell, and I'm really happy. In go the tomatoes. All of them. Lovely. So for those of you who do not want to cut your onions, again, you can buy these onions frozen, but you need to make sure that you either thaw them to room temperature before use, which is less advisable because it goes really mushy. But if you're using it from the freezer, make sure that your oil that you put in is really hot so that it doesn't compromise the temperature of your cooking too much. Now, after having added the tomatoes, the temperature of the pan went down and it started sizzling less. So I'm going to wait until it comes back to that noisy sizzle before I add the beans. It's getting noisy, so I'm going to add all of the black beans into the mix. And then give it a stirry stir. Put a lid on it and then go away for about 10 to 12 minutes. That will help the beans soak up the flavors and cook along with the rest of the ingredients. And there goes the lid. So see you in 10 to 12 minutes. It has been about 11 minutes and I did not reduce the heat. It was still at medium high. If you have a non-stick pot like me, you don't have to worry, but if you don't, just make sure that you had opened the pot every 2 minutes and stirred it a bit, otherwise it'll just catch and burn. See how bubbly it is and noisy. Now I'm going to stir it a bit. The next thing I'm going to do is reach for that bay leaf. Oh, that's hot. And take it out. It's done its job. I'm going to use this masher and then mash the beans like that. And everything gets mashed a little bit. You could also blend it, but personally I don't like that texture. I like the chunkiness of the mashed soup rather than the smooth and creamy texture of the blended soup. Mashed up. As you can see, I can still see some beans, but then most of it is mashed up and it's become more thick, and this is the time when you need to adjust the consistency with some water. I'm adding about 1/4 cup of water, but it's just eyeballing for most part and mixing it around. Please keep in mind that this will thicken as it cools, so it's okay to add a little bit more water. The soup will thicken as the beans cool down. You might ask if you can add some kind of stock. I would advise against it because that also has more salt, and if you are doing that, you're going to lose some of the flavors of the black bean and get the flavors of the stock. That's fine, but make sure that you don't add salt in the beginning and salt the dish at the end, so you're compensating for the salt that is there in the stock. Okay, this is almost done. I'm going to reduce the temp a little bit and then wait for it to boil. Now it's at a medium. I'm going to wait for 1 minute for it to boil and we are done. It's been about a minute and it starts slowly boiling, and that's when you know that the soup is done. Switch off and then we're ready to plate it and then eat it. I've poured some in the only ceramic bowl that I own, which is of a lovely color. I don't know what that color is, but it's some kind of a blue. And I had grilled some tortilla before. I'm going to eat the soup with that. But before I do that, I'm going to finish this off with just a squeeze of lemon. I had taken out the seeds before, so it's fine. And then I'm going to add some of this French fried onions from a jar. And I like cilantro, so I add some more on the top. You know, it looks good. Well, that's the dish. Voila! And I'm really hungry and I have to eat my lunch.